The new MacBook Pro is here. Hey everyone, Sean X Tech here, and today we're talking about the 2018 MacBook Pro. It packs in a ton of new features with the same design and killer performance. But with so many options, it can be overwhelming sometimes to decide what you want in a new computer. So if you're looking to upgrade, stay tuned to this video to find out what you should get. Let's first start with the keyboards, which Apple touts to be quieter than the previous generation models. And the reason for this was actually uncovered by iFixit, who discovered a new silicone membrane under the keyboard that prevents dust and debris from getting into the butterfly mechanism, which caused previous generation models to become afflicted with unresponsive or sticky keys. The new MacBook Pro has a True Tone display similar to the iOS devices recently released. It's configurable up to 32GB of RAM, and later we'll talk more in depth about the processors, but just to give an idea, these things are going to boost performance across the board. Apple's website details performance gains that you'll see on many of the popular applications, such as Logic Pro, Final Cut Pro, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Lightroom, and Pixelmator Pro, as well as others. Graphics got a boost as well, but not only that, Apple is offering its first ever eGPU in conjunction with Blackmagic to give you desktop graphics performance in the Radeon 580 graphics processor as a standalone unit to connect to any of the MacBook Pros. Apple also introduced the T2 chip into the new MacBook Pro line, which acts as a coprocessor, enhancing secure boot and encrypted storage capabilities. It also brings voice activation to Siri on the MacBook Pro for the first time. And the storage capabilities in the new MacBook Pro line are just insane. The 13-inch model is configurable up to 2TB, while the 15-inch model is configurable up to a whopping 4TB, with read speeds up to 3.2GB per second and write speeds up to 2.2GB per second. That's crazy. But with all the new processors, you may be wondering which one is right for you. For the first time, the MacBook Pro is configurable up to an Intel Core i9 6-core processor. The processors available to the 13-inch model include Intel's 2.3 GHz Core i5 quad-core processor, which is upgradable to the 2.7 GHz Core i7 quad-core processor. The differences in these processors comes down to the onboard memory, or smart cache, as well as the initial clock speed and maximum turbo boost frequency when performing process-intensive tasks. If we look at the Geekbench scores for performance on these processing units, we can see that the Core i7 edges out the Core i5 quite a bit, and we can see a similar advantage for the Core i7 in the multi-core score. The crazy thing is, the performance from these processors is actually on par with 15-inch models from last year. The 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro is quite the capable machine, with the best performance seen in a MacBook of its size to date. Its quad-core processors can handle everyday tasks with ease, and configuring it up to 16GB of RAM will help you multitask like a pro. While it should be able to handle general photo and video editing, its lack of dedicated graphics card means it'll struggle for more advanced tasks like larger files or 4K video. Looking at the 15-inch models, you have a few different options, starting with the 2.2 GHz Core i7 Hexa-core processor, followed by the 2.6 GHz, and finally the 2.9 GHz Core i9 Hexa-core processor, which is the fastest ever seen in a MacBook Pro. Just like the 13-inch MacBook Pro, the differences in the processors comes down to the onboard smart cache, as well as the initial clock speed and maximum turbo boost frequency. If we look at how the Geekbench scores compare for each of these processors, we can see the single core score is only slightly better for the 2.6 versus the 2.2 Core i7, but the Core i9 edges out both of them with a decently higher score. And in multi-core performance, we see about the same, completely obliterating last year's models. The 2018 15-inch MacBook Pro is your go-to mobile powerhouse machine, bringing advanced processing power with its 6-core processors all the way up to a Core i9, and configurable up to 32GB of RAM, the most ever seen in a MacBook. And with its dedicated Radeon graphics, you'll be able to handle more advanced games, larger file photo editing, and pro-style video editing. In terms of processor, most people will be fine with the base model 2.2 GHz Core i7, and if you want a little extra performance, you can step it up to the 2.6 GHz model. The Core i9 should really only be considered for the most advanced tasks when you need the most powerful performance on the go. When it comes down to it, your choice of MacBook really depends on what you'll be using it for. Keep in mind both models have the same speed of RAM and SSD storage, but you'll be able to increase those to higher capacities in the 15-inch model. For most students, the 13-inch model has more than enough to offer, but if you really want to step up your pro status, the 15-inch model is the closest to desktop class performance in a mobile package. That concludes my 2018 MacBook Pro roundup. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up down below. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below as well. Stay tuned to this channel for more on Apple and other tech products coming soon. Thanks for watching. If you want to see my last video, click the annotation in the lower left. If you want to see more in the future and keep up to date with the channel, click the annotation in the bottom right to subscribe. I'm Sean X Tech, and I hope to see you next time.